Right, hello and welcome to Forever Motorsports for free practice 2 of the Barcelona weekend. We are over in Spain and we've got a big weekend ahead of us, an exciting weekend. And if free practice 1 is anything to go by, then it should be quite a close weekend as well, with all four of the teams who have been looking decent lately, Red Bull, Mercedes, Ferrari and McLaren, looking reasonably strong in that first practice session. All of them save Leclerc coming in with some decent times, and hopefully Ferrari have spent the last couple of hours sorting out those issues they potentially had with him, and he could potentially hopefully have a much improved session than earlier. So welcome to the stream. It is the second and final session of the day. We will reconvene tomorrow after this for pre-practice 3 before qualifying. Obviously, the race taking place on Sunday. The weather over there is 24 degrees, a packed out circuit, a 43-degree track temperature, not too much of a wind either. So very nice conditions for racing over in Spain, as it often is at this time of the year. And we are literally about 2 minutes out before we will see hopefully some cars coming out of the pits nice and early, getting some lap times in, and interesting to see the sort of times you might start to see. The first practice was dominated by Lando Norris, who set the fastest time and continues to look very competitive. Will he yet really start to contend with Max Verstappen for the title? Maybe, I think it's probably early to tell, and maybe a little bit too late as well. But a couple of bad races, for example, and you generally start to think maybe anything could potentially happen. I just have been very impressed with what I've seen from McLaren in the last few weeks, as they first of all picked up a win and have continued to be more and more competitive as the season goes on. So let me know what your predictions are for the session ahead, as well as who you are supporting in the general in the championship this weekend. For example, who is your team? We did a poll on that earlier. The poll running in the comments at the moment is who impressed you the most in FP1. 123 votes so far. Lando Norris currently winning that poll with 60%. Max Verstappen at 26%. Sergio Perez with 5%. Esteban Ocon, who I thought had a decent session, actually getting more votes than Perez, finishing in that top 10. And the camera on him. He's obviously been announced that he will be leaving Alpine. Alpine electing to let him go. So something a little bit to prove, maybe. Also, what was interesting in that first session is that we did get to see some of time of Oliver Bearman inside that Haas, but Hulkenberg is back, and Magnussen will be the two drivers in those Haas's in this session. So no Bearman in this session, but he did get through that first session, put in about 25 odd laps, and looked pretty comfortable once again in a Formula One car. We wait and see whether he will indeed get a drive in the Haas. Which, yeah, I mean, they spoke to team principal earlier, and he was very, was not going to sit there and say that he's going to get the drive, but it wasn't going to be pressed either. But I think it's all but it will just make so much sense, isn't it, to get that drive right? So the cars are underway. The free practice 2 is officially underway, and we wait to see exactly what to see. What are your predictions, people? How are you guys feeling? How are you feeling about the weekend ahead? Who have you got out there? So it looks like Fernando. I think it's actually Lance Stroll who's gone out first. There's a kick Sauber underneath behind him. I think it's the Sauber of Bottas. Lando Norris out there. There's Hamilton on the track as well. We'll confirm exactly what the tires are and what the chat is there in just a bit. But Oscar Piastri out on the track. Pierre Gasly on the track. Lando Norris is on the track. Alexander Albon's on the track. That looks like Logan Sargent. They're busy doing a bit of painting. Putting a bit of a yellow paint on that car. That's actually Daniel Ricciardo. They've had to throw some top in front of him so that he doesn't get painted on. So interesting to see that. A bit of yellow paint literally be thrown on right as they're about to go out for Daniel Ricciardo. Hopefully that has dried. It's not going to sit there and end up on his helmet or anything like that, which I'm sure it won't. Carlos Sainz still in the pit lane at the moment. Charles Leclerc is out on track. Good to see. Sergio Perez on track as well. No Verstappen just yet. Daniel Ricciardo was heading out on track, so you should see his name pop up there very shortly. There it is. Verstappen, Sainz, and Russell, the 3 cars that remain in the pits. We've got no official times just yet. Albon going the fastest through Sector 2, though. So hopefully we'll start getting a few times in and around this circuit. And we are riding on a board with Hamilton at the moment. Right, let's see again what the first lap of the session is going to look like. Courtesy of Lewis Hamilton. Coming to that end of Sector 2 now. It is a purple second sector. By the way, Russell on track. And we're about 13 seconds away from finding out exactly what the first time of the afternoon is going to be. Still waiting to see exactly what the tyres are. A couple of traffic there for Lewis Hamilton to deal with this, so that might impede his time slightly. But he's going to come through in 1:15, almost going down to that 1:15 mark, so immediately quite fast here from Lewis Hamilton, who sets the fastest lap of the session. There we go. Here goes Carlos Sainz out onto the track as well. So it's going to be a busy track now. Just Max Verstappen who remains in the pit lane. Right, Lando Norris now going underneath that 1:15 mark and almost underneath the 1:14 mark, actually. So he is immediately very, very fast. Looks like Sainz on that yellow compound. I don't know what the... there we go. But so taking a while to get some of the tyre information in, but there we go. So Oscar Piastri on a set of hards, as is Albon, Zhang Guanyu, and Logan Sargent. Oscar Piastri as well. The rest of the field, as Max Verstappen comes and joins the party, all currently running on mediums. We expect to see these guys out for about 10, maybe 15 minutes before they'll then go, maybe even a bit longer actually, so 20, 25 minutes before they'll go back into the pits and have a look there. And Sergio Perez, who looked a bit better in that first session, is out and starting to clock some times as well. Really like to see Charles Leclerc hopefully putting in some decent times after that really, really difficult first session. Carlos Sainz now on a hot lap. Let's see what he can do. The time to beat 1:14.197. Yeah, fastest first sector there for Carlos Sainz. Home Grand Prix of Carlos Sainz, as well as Fernando Alonso. How cool would it be if those two were to feature? Green sector there. So Carlos Sainz will come through. I don't think you're going to see a fast lap. They're dealing with a lot of traffic. He's had to slow down a lot, as Carlos Sainz. But good to see that he had some pace in the early sectors. Right, so Sainz there, about half a second behind Charles Leclerc. a little bit further up and going under 115. So hopefully whatever issues we had in the first session has been fixed up. Hello everybody, and Linduith checking in, Old Man Root checking in, as well as Sangeetha Sandar saying Hamilton. So welcome to the stream. If you are watching, make sure you jump in the chat. Let me know that you're watching. Say how's it. Introduce yourself. Let me know who you're supporting, who you're watching, what you're thinking so far. I want to know your guys' thoughts. Let this not just be a one-way thing. This is a watch along. So we are all doing the watching. We need to be doing the alonging part, which means jumping in the chat, sharing your thoughts, creating some conversation. Let's be virtual mates here. Lando is still the fastest. Max Verstappen up there, but quite a few cars already going under that 115 mark. So it's been a nice quick start here. We're on board with Valtteri Bottas. Let's see what his issue is with his kick Sauber here. A bit of a car in the way there. Going a bit wide through turn 10, I think it is. Yeah, I was saying you got blocked in the end there. Definitely did. Definitely didn't get to take the line you would like to have taken into that corner. So frustrating there for Valtteri Bottas, who's currently in a kick Sauber that hasn't really offered him much so far this season. They look very nice to the kick Saubers, but unfortunately just not with the pace at the moment. Very interesting to see what happens in the future with Audi coming into it, with all the new regulation stuff like that. Will it be a bit of a leveler? That's kind of the hopes, really, is to try and find a way of making it all a bit more even across the teams. Lewis Hamilton now on board there. He's clocked at 322 kilometers an hour through that speed trap. As you imagine, everybody but Piastri on the hards, quite far down that leaderboard. So Oscar Piastri is the fastest man on hards at the moment. Fastest first sector there now for Lewis Hamilton. And he's below that time from Lando Norris. So potentially a fastest lap on the for Hamilton. Having to deal with a bit of traffic there. That could be the difference. And a bit of I think it was oversteer, actually. George Russell is in second place. Hamilton does improve on his time, but is still a little bit further behind. Despite that fastest first sector, there was a lot of traffic going through that third sector, which was the issue. So he clocks in with a 114.9294. But good to see that the Mercedes have a nice pace early on here. Looking at his stats in the Spanish Grand Prix, 17 starts for Hamilton, 6 wins, 11 podiums, 6 pole positions, 14 top 10 finishes. So just on 3 occasions, not finishing in that top 10. It's a pretty impressive record, isn't it, for one of the best drivers to have ever jumped into a car, Lewis Hamilton. That is a Red Bull in the pits. It looks like it is the Red Bull of, I think that's Max Verstappen who's on there. I think potential issue here for him. Let's see what's happened here. Does he go slightly wide? Asking how the balance is. Wow, he's just slid over there. He says the other car's loose in exits in general. Still just weird understeer mid-corner. This car doesn't bite. Standard, isn't it? Name something that is more common than Max Verstappen talking about is under-talking his car during the practices, only to go and put in a big performance when it comes to qualifying. Speaking of big performances, Lando has gone down to second because George Russell has just set a fastest lap with a 114.089, threatening that 114 barrier. So at the moment, as I said, Mercedes looking particularly strong. Now Max Verstappen, he's went to the pits there, so maybe I'll try and sort out that balance issue. At the moment, has not clocked anything too rapid in this session. Kind of sits 4th fastest, 0.3 of a second back. And Max Verstappen with a lot of traffic. Yeah, not going to set anything alight too much. Oscar Piastri has gone to the pits, by the way. Hulkenberg. We're about 12 minutes into the section, so a lot of running time so far for these cars. We'll see them go into the pits relatively soon, and reassess before they come out for sort of the second long session towards the end of the session. But let's do some of the comments. What have you guys got to say over here? Jump in the comments and let me know what you guys think. Any early predictions, for example? Is this promising for Mercedes? Is there a reason to be excited, or do you have to be cautious, for example? How are we feeling? What is the general chat here? Now Norris going to the pits, and Sergio Perez going to the pits, Hulkenberg going to the pits, so a couple more riding on board there. It looks like Carlos Sainz looking very good around a couple of these corners here. The Ferraris. Right, we've gone down to turn 2 where we're having a current look at the moment. It's actually Charles Leclerc that we're currently riding on board with. He's had a slow start to proceedings, but plenty of time. That's the main thing for the Ferraris. No need to panic. Absolutely no need to panic whatsoever. It is a long weekend, and let's just get through today, and then tomorrow hopefully try and improve. I'd love to see a strong performance from Ferrari. I just, every now and again, we threaten to keep improving and start getting our shit in order, and then we'd have a weekend like Canada where we just absolutely just bug out. And that's where the frustration, isn't it? It's always like sort of 3 steps forward, 2 steps back, sometimes 2 steps forward, 3 steps back, as Charles Leclerc does come into the pits there. Both Ferraris, in fact, into the pits. And there we go. So we've had, 15 minutes, as mentioned. We'll now see a lot of the cars coming into the pits, and they'll have a look at what's going on, make a few tweaks and stuff like that, get some info from the drivers. Right, George Russell at the moment, looking at that gap between him and Hamilton, which is 0.2 of a second. Sorry, 0.02 of a second, rather. Trying to see if we've got any other information coming through at the moment, but nothing really much from the socials or anything, any sort of behind-the-scenes stuff. A big weekend of sport, as mentioned. If you guys are sports fans, then make sure you check out, first of all, obviously this channel for all the Forever Sport, all the motorsport stuff, mostly Formula One this weekend. Make sure you check out our Forever Sports account as well, which is going to have some rugby this weekend. We're going to have some football across and some cricket. So there's lots of sport at the moment. If you would like to indulge and come and join us. George Russell, by the way, has just set a fastest first sector. He does currently have the fastest race of the afternoon. So I reckon he'll probably try and push it over here. See, while the track is nice and quiet, try and push it, see what he can clock in, and then probably come into the pits himself whilst everybody else is busy doing some minor adjustments. A yellow second sector there, so maybe not quite as fast as we initially thought. And they'll come through, and it's going to be way off the pace there. So good to see that. I mean, the encouraging thing for Mercedes is with that fastest first sector, but I reckon we'll see him coming into the pits in the next lap here. Not very many people on Ocon. They're coming into the pits at the moment. Sonoda coming through, and Magnussen. So those three are the only ones currently out on track. And we do expect Sonoda to come into the pits as well. Yep, there he does. Now Magnussen, and then I'm sure George Russell will follow suit as well. With 43 minutes officially remaining on the track time at the moment. Looks to be a good crowd in there as well. Always well supported is the Spanish Grand Prix. Circuit de Barcelona-Catalunya is what the track name is. It is 4.6 kilometers, located obviously in Barcelona, shock and horror, in Catalonia. Its capacity is 140,000 people if it's a sellout crowd. And I dare say we will see that kind of crowd over this weekend. As mentioned, very, very well supported. And why not? Why wouldn't you come out and watch? You've got some Spanish drivers in the form of Carlos Sainz and Fernando Alonso. Lots of Formula 1 heritage, a lot of Spanish people involved in Formula 1 previously. So, yeah, it's a really cool part of the calendar. And we've got a bit of a three-peat coming up here, back to back to back with regards to the Formula 1 calendar. We've got Spain this weekend, followed by Austria next weekend when we go to the Red Bull Ring, the home Grand Prix for Red Bull. And then we go to Silverstone on the 7th of July. Probably the race of the calendar, or one of the races in the calendar that everybody sort of circles and very much looks forward to. So hopefully Silverstone will provide some drama. Obviously, quite a few British drivers like George Russell, Lando Norris, Lewis Hamilton. You might even see like sort of George Behrman there next season. So also very important. Obviously, the likes of McLaren coming out of the UK there. Red Bull actually operate out of the UK, so a lot of UK teams as well. I think Alpine's actually based is in the UK as well, if I'm not mistaken. I think they're based in out of Inston. So go to them in the comments over here. Old man saying Mercs are definitely on the pace. Danny is slow. Granny Topwell saying still skeptical about the Mercs. I think we will know in quali whether they are back in contention for wins / podiums, but McLaren will surely give Red Bull a challenge tomorrow. Hockey fans here, good game tonight in Edmonton. Oh, there we go. See, maybe some hockey fans. We are heading towards the Olympics, which is not ice hockey, but field hockey. But it's interesting how all of a sudden people suddenly start to watch all the sports they don't genuinely watch when we head towards the Olympics. We'll obviously be covering some of the Olympics. So no motorsports really in the Olympics yet. Maybe you never know. Could be an addition one eventually down the line. But we will be doing a bit of coverage over there. Right, so all the cars currently inside the pits at the moment. I think Tarzan actually has gone out with Piastri. So just the lone two. But so far the scenario and the picture and the situation is that George Russell fastest so far with Lando Norris behind him, Lewis Hamilton over there. So it's the Merc fans maybe will be feeling a little bit confident, will be feeling a bit excited about the proceedings there. Max Verstappen in 4th place at the moment, 4th fastest. You've got Carlos Sainz at 5, Charles Leclerc at 6, Ocon at 7, Piastri at 8, Gasly at 9, and Bottas in at 10.
Does decide to go leg side.
Please do smash like, by the way. There's 190 people watching, but just 20 likes. So, I mean, even if half of you were to like it, we get to over 100. So, please do me a favor. Don't be a lurker. Go in and show support. It costs you absolutely nothing to hit that like button. But it means a lot for us. You know, it keeps us going. Send this to your friends as well. Share the stream around. Let's get as many people in here as possible. Right, so what we're going to see, Oscar Piastri is back in the pits there and having settling in for a bit. Logan Sargent is out on track. Carlos Sainz is out on track, as is Sergio Perez on an outlap. Alex Albon also out on an outlap at the moment. So a bit of free space there for Carlos Sainz to move around. Keen to see the type of times we're going to see in quali for the Ferraris tomorrow. Right, potentially going to see some qualifying runs now from the teams. So I could be getting an indication of what qualifying could look like tomorrow, what some of the times could be. Last year, qualifying was, I think it was a 1:12, did I say? What was it? Something along those lines. I have it here somewhere. 1:12.76 was the qualifying time last night. Sorry, 1:12.2 was the qualifying time for Max Verstappen, who was on pole. And he'll be very much wanting to be back on pole this weekend. Now Sergio Perez out on a set of mediums. So Logan Sargent with a pair of softs. Everybody else out on mediums. More and more cars starting to come back out. Yeah, I think I said in the first session, but a massive weekend for Sergio Perez. I was so shocked at that contract. Don't know if I agree with it either. I think it's good driver, but I just don't think he's getting the max out of that Red Bull. I think they could have taken a risk. I genuinely think even going with Yuki Tsunoda, by the way, Carlos Sainz with the fastest first two sectors. Yeah, he's been out there the longest, and on a pair of mediums, we'll be looking to try and do a bit of a qualifying run here. I think slightly wide there through that third. Now the question is are we going to see a fastest time here? Nice and quick through the final corner. He's going to come through at a 1:13.286. That is called laying down the marker. Starting to get close to those sub 1:13s. As mentioned, last year was a 1:12.2 in qualifying. So you probably won't see that just yet. But that's a nice big sign of intent that from Carlos Sainz, who has been stronger than Leclerc so far this weekend. His car seems to be cooperating a bit better. He seems to be getting a bit much more out of his car. So hopefully in his home Grand Prix, we could see a strong performance here from Carlos Sainz. Now, Zhao Guan Yu puts in a decent time. He puts himself in 7th on a pair of softs at the moment. Sainz on softs, Norris softs, Leclerc in 3rd place with softs, by the way. They're coming in adding a decent time there as well. Ferrari's nice improvement there. And Bottas also going under that 1:14 mark. So Hülkenberg joining the queue there. So you can see everybody on the softs now starting to find that those times. We're looking at a bit of a qualifying simulation, see what those laps might look like. On board here with Lance Stroll, green first sector. Magnussen now going and putting himself up there. Russell in the pits, Hamilton on an outlap. So it'll be interesting to see if Russell in the pits now will go into a set of softs, come out and start trying to push those times. Yuki Tsunoda now moving up a bit. Lando Norris just behind Carlos Sainz, who are both in the pit, by the way. Now Max Verstappen, he sets the fastest first sector. Now let's see what this Red Bull can do. Right, so he's 0.3 of a second behind that Carlos Sainz lap. Gone a bit wide there, so not been a perfect lap here for Max Verstappen. Doesn't seem to be all going as well as you'd like to so far here for Max Verstappen. He does go third fastest though, having said that. So nothing too bad, but just did that bit of middle sector there. I think struggling to control the car a little bit, so we'll see how he responds to that. I was saying, fully blocked me, man. What the F? Can you tell me who was the driver? Racing Bulls. It was Tsunoda, apparently. Shotgun, you say not surprised. Drama there. That might not be appreciated by Yuki Tsunoda a bit later. Right, Lewis Hamilton, by the way, getting on the action. He goes quicker with a 113.264. So George Russell hasn't quite lashed it, but I haven't seen him on a set of softs just yet. By the way, the tires on the screen are not the current compounds. It's the fastest times they've set, by the way. So you can see the best lap over there, and those are their best sectors, or the current sectors of the current lap. And the tire is the tire that they had when they had set those times. And that is officially halfway through this session. So half an hour to go as the times start to get better and better. Alcott putting himself at 6th place. So the two Haas over there. I think we're going to see much more movement at the moment. Alonso moving up into 11th fastest in his own Grand Prix. Right, on board now with Oscar Piastri. He's currently sitting 18th fastest, so he'll want to try and improve on that. Currently on a pair of softs, so he's down on the lap time in that first sector there. Now, so Oscar Piastri, where's he going to come through? Will not be fastest by any means, but will definitely improve on the currently 18th fastest. And he'll go 6th fastest there with a 113.622. So, yeah, I mean, the top 8, it's just Sergio Perez, by the way, who's not come out on a pair of softs just yet, who's sitting well behind outside that sort of the usual top 8. So, Ocon occupying that 8th position. Looking strong once again is Esteban Ocon. Maybe trying to make them regret the decision to cut him out from the team. Sergio Perez in the pits at the moment, in fact, in the garage actually, and obviously some issues at the back there. He's got, it looks like he's got no front wing. Looks like there's stuff off the back of his car as well. So not the side you'd like to see as a Red Bull fan, with apparent issues with that car of Sergio Perez's. Now, Pierre Gasly going forward fast. That's a nice lap from him. Someone who I think is Formula 1 career is just kind of sort of stalling a little bit. He is a Formula 1 winner, is Pierre Gasly. But, yeah, I mean, maybe, could be pushing to maybe look at that seat in the Merc, maybe. Actually, I think he's actually got a contract. I think he's actually confirmed for Alpine next season, if I'm not mistaken. No, they actually haven't confirmed. Yeah, so I wonder if he potentially might be looking to try and see if he can get into that Mercedes seat. Maybe even joining Alonso at Aston Martin, which might not seem like a bit of a sideways move, but that Aston Martin threatened to be fast last season. So it'll be interesting to see how they can respond in the next few seasons and start to adapt to the regulations and make themselves competitive once again. Hello, Cora. Welcome to the stream. Good to have you back. Everybody else who's still voting, you're asking you who impressed you the most at FP1. We're going to end that poll. It's 207 votes. Lando Norris winning that one over there. Max Verstappen, 23%. Esteban Ocon with 7%. I'm going to throw a new poll out saying which team will be the best this weekend. I'm going to put in Red Bull. And I'm going to put in McLaren. And I'm going to put in Ferrari. I'm going to put in Mercedes. Now, this is more, it's not about like a Max Verstappen question. This is a team effort. So, for example, at the moment, Sergio Perez had issues with his car, has not put in a decent time and remains quite far behind. Are we talking, as a team as a whole? For example, at the moment, the Mercedes looking good. The Ferrari's not looking terrible. The McLarens are up there. So this is I think this is quite a nice poll because I generally don't see which way this is potentially going to go. Yanni's saying, this is a trick question. Perez is me. Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It's not that simple just to say it's Red Bull because you've got to factor in Sergio Perez. And, whether you're going to sit there and say, well, it's not his team, or it's not the team's fault he's doing badly. Well, the team gave him a contract, so it is actually their fault. Sergio Perez has not done a run on soft tires, by the way. So we have an issue with that car. It hasn't come out to do that run as we enter the final 25 minutes. I'm going to take a slight break. I'm going to fill up my water, and then I'll be back with you guys in a bit. Right, and I'm back, and we've got just less than 50 minutes left of second practice. And at the moment, the news is that Hamilton has been the fastest. I don't think we'll see much faster laps than this. So Hamilton, 113.264. Nobody got under that 113 just yet. Carlos Sainz just behind him. Lando Norris, Pierre Gasly, a bit of an odd one in that sort of top four, ahead of Max Verstappen, Charles Leclerc, Oscar Piastri, George Russell, Esteban Ocon holding on to that top 10, and Bottas. They're rounding out the top 10. So an interesting practice session so far. And we'll have 15 minutes left. A couple of minor adjustments happening to the Ferrari of Charles Leclerc. Carlos Sainz currently out there. And Charles Leclerc has not quite had the same hold on his car as his teammate has so far. Struggled really in the first half, or the first practice session, where he said that he described the car as being horrendous. So it's been a bit better this session. Has to have been with the fact that he's put in some decent times, but still I don't think all is well with that Ferrari, and Ferrari will need to try and sort that out tomorrow ahead of qualifying, because you need a strong weekend. And a strong weekend for Ferrari, for example, could genuinely put them into the Constructors' Champion race alongside Red Bull. They're not out of it by any means, so you know a strong weekend could change the season. And they've got 3 weekends in a row, so you've got a bit of a run here. And even if you're not winning races, but from a constructor's point of view, if you're picking up podiums, maybe even double podiums, but if you can podium at least one podium in the next 3 weeks, for example, the other one coming in 4-5, for example, if you can make both drivers in that top 5, maybe in the top 4 the next 3 weeks, with the former Sergio Perez, if he's finishing outside the points at all, for example, then that Ferrari can be firmly behind Red Bull for that race for the Constructors' Championship. Looking on board here with Lance Stroll. Currently finds himself in 18th on a pair of softs though, so might be looking to try and improve that. Right, so earlier on I asked you, who do you think will do best as a team? And Yanni bringing out some good points, saying Red Bull has not been as easy to drive quickly as people think. Max is a key component to their dominance here, along with McLaren. Expecting McLaren to be the most dominant team. Mercedes currently with 33%, McLaren second place. Then Red Bull, nobody really backing Ferrari to put in a good team effort. I suppose that is probably with the problems that they've had with Charles Leclerc, who remains in the pit, where they'll be able to come out again. Only time will tell. The big sort of surprise so far session is Pierre Gasly all of a sudden in and around there. As I said, I really enjoy Pierre Gasly, and would love to see him really step up. He's had a bit of a drop off in his career. Needs to kind of get things back in order. 28 years old, so you're not a young driver. Won the 2020 Italian Grand Prix, his only victory. Winning it in that AlphaTauri, for example. So it's part of sort of the whole Red Bull setup. I was obviously drove for Red Bull back in 2019. So the drop off from there to where he is now is a bit sad to see. So it'll be really cool to see if he can have a strong weekend, and yeah, maybe try and reignite his career a little bit. He's been part of Alpine since now his second season in the Alpine. Hasn't been confirmed yet whether he'll continue with them next season. So still lots to work with. But in terms of his racing career and the points from finishing 29. Where am I actually? 29 points, 15th in his debut season, 7th when driving for Red Bull in that 2019 season. Since then, 10th, 9th, 14th, 11th, and 15th. So, yeah, unfortunately, not on a great. Currently 15th, to be fair. Could go a bit higher than that. but not the trajectory he'd really like to see. For me, I think he is a top 10 on the grid driver, but at the moment not really in a car that's going to give him that, and maybe he hasn't been performing as consistently enough to earn him a drive in a car that'll give him that sort of that pace and the consistency he needs to get back into that top 10 and be one of the top drivers on the grid. But likable character though, Pierre Gasly. So as I said, would love to see him getting back into a bit of form as we head into the final 10 minutes. I can't actually give you a link to the background music because we actually had it commissioned. So if you would like to listen to that background music, it's actually written by Mark, who's a presenter over here. He is a composer and by his day trade, and he actually did that for us. So yeah, maybe I'll tell him to put in a download link in the comments and we can link to that. But yeah, at the moment I actually can't show you exactly where to get it. It is our personal Forever Motorsports F1 score, or motorsport score really, that we use as background music. But yeah, maybe I'll chat to him and see if he can get a download going so that you guys can go and download and listen to it if you would like to. Looking a bit wide there from Lewis Hamilton. A couple of cars struggling there. You could just see goes wide, catches a little bit of the sand. Not enough of the sand track to really affect him too much. Right, so a reminder of the schedule. Things obviously not quite on the same timing as in the first day. So just going to bring up the schedule right here, make sure that we're all aligned. Where are we? We're on Spain, Spain, Spain. Where is it? Spain, here we go. Spain, Spain, Spain. In Barcelona. So in terms of the full schedule, we'll be back tomorrow. Free practice will begin at 12:30 until 1:30. So that'll be a free practice tomorrow for practice 1. Qualifying for me tomorrow at 4 o'clock. It's pretty standard, really. You know, we're kind of into the European time. So the 3 o'clock for Grand Prix start, for example, if you're on European time, it's the 4 o'clock quali. You know, it all kind of gets a bit more predictable, a bit more consistent in the next few weeks during the sort of the European segment of the Formula One season. Before we then go to South America and the times will all become a bit more difficult. So 5 minutes left, riding on board here with Oscar Piastri. Charles Leclerc, by the way, is out. And putting in some times, which is good to see. After they were literally had all the screwdrivers, all the tools out there working on Charles Leclerc's car there. Sergio Perez as well. Well behind the pace, issues with his car. So interesting to see what he'll do tomorrow. Still one more practice ready for these guys to get everything right before that qualifying session at 4 o'clock. So whilst at the moment initially does look like the Mercedes, Ferraris, and McLarens are the more organized of the teams, although then Charles Leclerc had a few issues. We do know how good Red Bull is at getting things right when they need to. So certainly wouldn't mean that this is that means that Sergio Perez is out of the running at all. McLaren's last win at the Spanish Grand Prix was 2005. Fun fact for you there. A couple of facts flying around. Lando Norris could yet be a contender this weekend, and we are riding on board with him at the moment. Yeah, a little bit too much there from Lando. What's he got to say? Saying I hit the floor pretty hard. You can see in the back there. Yeah, I can just see there. That's the way we bring that into pits and never see and check to see if everything's okay there. Now, you should know that Daniel Ricciardo basically not featured, to be honest, this session. Ricciardo was faster than Yuki in that first session. Yuki, who's been very impressive of late, not really been able to match those previous couple of weekends so far, but you never know. But yeah, I mean, I think it was Monaco. It was very quick. It's been a couple of could be a couple of almost sort of close polls. But so far this weekend, the RBs, especially in this session, haven't quite been there. Gasly remains in fourth. As I said, we're not going to see many fast times. One we might see something from Charles Leclerc, given the fact that he didn't really get to put in a decent lap on the pair of softs. But I don't think we're going to see it. So the final 3 minutes will just be a bit of info and a couple of experiments from the drivers, just going around and getting used to the track. They'll have one more session, 1 more hour to get things right before then they will finish tomorrow with quali at 4 o'clock tomorrow. So make sure you don't miss it. 4 o'clock, people. We will be live for free practice as well as quali. So bringing you guys all that action. Then obviously the race starting at 3 o'clock there on Sunday. And you'll be with me for the entire weekend, by the way. So get used to it. I'll be on comms tomorrow for free practice as well as the race itself. Barrett's saying, I need the link. Guys, I'm talking about saying is engaged. And yeah, well, I'll try and see if I can sort out a download link for you there. I'll chat to Mark and see if you can get a download link for him. And again, it is his music that he wrote for us. So I'm sure he'll be easy enough to sort that out. So maybe even by tomorrow's first session, we'll have that link in the comments there for you. Final 2 minutes here over in Barcelona. And let's have a look at exactly how things are all stacking up ahead of the second day. So far, fastest in Barcelona has been Hamilton with a 1:13.264. Just behind him has been Carlos Sainz, Lando Norris in third place, Pierre Gasly in fourth, Max Verstappen in fifth, Charles Leclerc in sixth, Oscar Piastri seventh, George Russell at eighth, Esteban Ocon at ninth, and Bottas at 10. The bottom 10 is looking like the two houses in Magnussen and Hulkenberg. You've got Sergio Perez there. He's had a really tough session. Fernando Alonso, who in his Grand Prix has not been amazing just yet. Yuki Tsunoda, Daniel Ricciardo, Zhou Guanyu, Lance Stroll in the at 18th there, and then the two Williams bringing up the rear, which is why it's so depressing when you think that Carlos Sainz is potentially going to be driving in that Williams next season. There's just no pace there whatsoever. Yeah, for a driver of his quality, it's frustrating to basically almost have a year off in terms of being competitive, because if he does go to Williams, he just won't have the pace. So yeah, final laps really coming in. You have 45 seconds left of the session. So thank you for everybody who's joined me through today. We will once again be live, as mentioned, tomorrow. The stream, by the way, will take you to the stream for tomorrow, so you can go turn your notifications on for it, so that you make sure you don't miss it. And as we get the last few cars sort of coming through over here, 20 seconds left before the session officially comes to an end. And 4, 3, 2, 1. And that is the end of free practice 2. Right, people. And the checkered flag does come down on the session. So all the information we got from today, well, that's it, isn't it? Hopefully a very interesting session tomorrow. Yanis says Sancho signed with Audi. Well, it is the plan, isn't it? Yeah, people, please do smash like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel. We'll be seeing you guys all tomorrow for the third and final practice session before we go into qualifying.